Dr. Marcus Thompson rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the clock on his lab wall. It was 3 in the morning. He had been working for 18 hours straight, but something told him he was close to a major discovery. The coffee cup next to his computer was empty and cold. Marcus was a physicist who studied space and time. He worked at a science center in Nevada, far from the big cities. Most people thought he was crazy because his ideas were so strange. He believed that humans could travel faster than light in ways that no one had ever imagined. The lab was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. Papers covered every surface. Math equations filled 3 large whiteboards. Marcus had been trying to solve a puzzle that had confused scientists for years. How could humans travel to distant stars quickly? Other alien races in the galaxy had faster-than-light travel. They used ships that could bend space or jump through other dimensions. But their technology was slow compared to what Marcus was thinking about. He wanted to create something that would make those alien ships look like old bicycles. Marcus stared at his latest equation. Something was different about it. The numbers seemed to dance on the screen. He checked his work 3 times. Then he checked it again. His hands started to shake. This can't be right, he whispered to himself. The equation suggested something impossible. It showed that he could create tiny black holes, not the huge, dangerous ones that eat stars. These would be small and controlled. They would last for just a few seconds, but in those seconds they could fold space like a piece of paper. Marcus stood up so fast that his chair fell over. He grabbed his phone and called his partner, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez. She was also a physicist, but she was much more careful than Marcus. She always told him to slow down and think about safety. "Lisa, you need to come to the lab right now," Marcus said when she answered. "Marcus, it's 3 in the morning. This better be important," Lisa said. She sounded tired and annoyed. "I think I figured out how to punch holes in reality itself." There was a long pause. Then Lisa said, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't touch anything until I get there." When Lisa arrived, she found Marcus pacing around the lab like a caged animal. His hair was messy and his clothes were wrinkled. He pointed at the computer screen with excitement. "Look at this, Lisa. Look at these numbers." Lisa sat down and studied the equation carefully. She was known for being very smart and very thorough. Other scientists respected her opinions. As she read through Marcus's work, her eyes grew wide. "Marcus, this is either brilliant or completely insane," she said finally. "Maybe both," Marcus replied with a grin. Lisa continued reading. The math was complex but correct. Marcus had found a way to create what he called micro-singularities. These tiny black holes would appear for just a moment, but they would create a tunnel through space. A ship could enter on one side and come out somewhere else instantly. "Have you thought about what could go wrong?" Lisa asked. "Of course I have. That's why the black holes only last for a few seconds. They disappear before they can cause any real damage." Lisa frowned. "Marcus, we're talking about playing with black holes. Even tiny ones could be dangerous." "Every great discovery involves some risk," Marcus said. "When humans first made fire, they probably burned themselves. When they built the first airplane, people said it was too dangerous. But we did it anyway." Lisa sighed. She knew Marcus was right about one thing. Humans had always been willing to take big risks for big rewards. It was what made them different from most alien species in the galaxy. "We need to build a small test first," Lisa said. "Something we can control." Marcus had already thought of this. He showed Lisa his plans for a tiny prototype. It would be small enough to fit on a desk. They would use it to send a probe the size of a tennis ball from Earth to Jupiter and back. "If this works," Marcus said, "we could revolutionize space travel. We could explore the entire galaxy in days instead of years." Lisa looked worried. "And if it doesn't work, we could accidentally create a black hole that swallows the Earth. That's why we start small," Marcus said. They spent the next week building the prototype. It looked like a metal box with wires and lights. Inside were powerful magnets and energy cells. The device would create a controlled explosion of energy that would, for just a moment, bend the laws of physics. Captain Jake Morrison visited their lab during the testing phase. He was a military officer who worked for Earth's space defense forces. He had heard rumors about Marcus's work and wanted to see it for himself. "Dr. Thompson," Captain Morrison said, "I've read your reports. Is this technology real?" "We're about to find out," Marcus replied. They placed a small probe inside the device. The probe had a camera and a radio transmitter. If the experiment worked, it would appear near Jupiter, take a picture, and then return to Earth. "Are you ready?" Marcus asked Lisa. She took a deep breath. As ready as someone can be when they're about to tear a hole in space. Marcus pressed the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air in the lab seemed to shimmer. The lights flickered. A sound like thunder filled the room, even though they were underground. The probe disappeared. 3 seconds later, it reappeared in exactly the same spot. The camera showed pictures of Jupiter's moons. The radio confirmed that the probe had traveled 500 million miles in less than a second. Marcus and Lisa stared at each other in amazement. Captain Morrison's mouth hung open. "Congratulations," Lisa said quietly. "You just broke the universe." Marcus laughed. "No, I just found a new way to use it." But Lisa's words would prove to be more accurate than any of them realized. They had indeed broken something fundamental about the universe. And soon, every alien civilization in the galaxy would know about it. The age of human dominance in space travel had begun. But so had something much more dangerous. Something that would threaten the entire galaxy and force humanity to face consequences they never imagined. 2 weeks after the successful test, Marcus Thompson felt like the king of the world. His small probe had traveled to Jupiter and back in seconds. The pictures it took were perfect. The technology worked exactly as he had predicted, but Lisa Rodriguez was not celebrating. She spent her days studying the readings from their test. Something bothered her about the energy signatures they had detected. The numbers didn't look quite right. "Marcus, I think we created more than just a tunnel through space," she said one morning. Marcus looked up from his coffee. "What do you mean?" "The gravitational readings show ripples, big ones. Our little test sent waves through space that are still moving outward." Marcus shrugged. "So what? We moved some energy around, that's normal. These ripples are moving faster than light. They're carrying information about what we did to every corner of the galaxy." Before Marcus could respond, alarms started ringing throughout the research facility. Red lights flashed in the hallways. A voice on the intercom announced that all staff should report to the main briefing room immediately. Dr. Amy Foster, the facility's safety director, stood at the front of the room with a grim expression. She was known for being overly cautious, but today she looked genuinely scared. 3 hours ago, our deep space sensors detected something unusual, Dr. Foster announced. "A large object appeared at the edge of our solar system. It's not moving. Like a natural object, we believe it's an alien spacecraft." The room erupted in excited chatter. First contact with aliens had always been a possibility, but most scientists thought it would happen gradually. Ships would meet in deep space. Messages would be exchanged. There would be time to prepare. "The ship is heading directly toward Earth," Dr. Foster continued. "It will arrive in 6 hours. Captain Morrison stepped forward. "What do we know about their intentions?" "They're broadcasting a message on multiple frequencies. Our translation computers are working on it now." Marcus felt a cold fear growing in his stomach. "When did you say they appeared?" 3 hours ago." Marcus grabbed Lisa's arm. "How long would it take for our gravitational ripples to reach the edge of the solar system?" Lisa quickly did the math in her head. "About 2 weeks." Her face went pale. "Oh no." "What?" Captain Morrison demanded. "I think our test got their attention," Marcus said. 20 minutes later, the translation computers finished their work. The alien message was short and direct. "Attention, inhabitants of the third planet. We represent the Galactic Council. You have developed prohibited technology. Prepare to receive our delegation." The next 6 hours passed like a nightmare. Earth's leaders held emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert. Scientists debated what prohibited technology could mean. But Marcus already knew the answer. The alien ship was massive. When it appeared in Earth's orbit, it blocked out part of the sun. The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way. It looked like a crystal cathedral mixed with a warship. Strange lights pulsed along its surface. The aliens requested permission to land at the Nevada facility. They specifically asked to meet with the creators of the reality manipulation device. "How do they know about our work?" Lisa whispered. "Because we basically announced it to the entire galaxy," Marcus replied. The landing was unlike anything humans had ever seen. The alien shuttle didn't use rockets or engines. It simply appeared in the sky above the facility and descended like a falling leaf. When it touched the ground, the air around it shimmered with the same effect Marcus had seen during his test. The shuttle's door opened with a sound like singing crystal. 3 beings stepped out, and they were nothing like the aliens in Earth's movies and stories. The leader was tall and elegant with blue skin that seemed to glow from within. She wore robes that shifted color as she moved. Her eyes were large and silver, and when she looked at something, Marcus felt like she was seeing into his soul. "I am Ambassador Zarathul of the Valerian Empire," she said in perfect English. "I speak for the Galactic Council on matters of dangerous technology." Behind her stood 2 other aliens. One looked like a giant insect made of metal and crystal. The other was humanoid, but covered in scales that reflected light like a prism. "Dr. Foster stepped forward as Earth's representative. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. We're honored by your visit." Ambassador Zarathul's expression remained serious. "This is not a social call, Dr. Foster. We are here because your species has developed a Class X prohibited technology." "We don't understand," Dr. Foster said. "What technology are you referring to?" The ambassador turned her silver eyes toward Marcus. "The reality manipulation drive, the device that creates controlled singularities to fold space." Marcus felt every eye in the room turn toward him. "How do you know about that?" "Because 2 weeks ago, your test created gravitational waves that were detected by monitoring stations across 3 star systems. Your primitive experiment sent shockwaves through space that are still traveling outward." Lisa stepped beside Marcus. "We thought the effects were local. Our calculations showed minimal impact." The insect-like alien spoke for the first time. Its voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "Your calculations were incorrect. Reality manipulation technology has been banned by galactic law for over 10,000 years. "Why?" Captain Morrison demanded. Ambassador Zarathul gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the air above them. It showed a star system with dozens of planets and moons. Then the display changed, showing the same system as a cloud of debris and radiation. "This was the Keth Moran system," the ambassador said. 1 million years ago, the Keth Moran developed technology similar to yours. They believed they could control it. They were wrong. The hologram showed how the Keth Moran's reality drives had created a cascade failure. Each use of the technology weakened the fabric of space around their star system. Eventually, space itself collapsed, taking 12 planets and 40 billion lives with it. Your species has unknowingly taken the first step down the same path, Ambassador Zarathul said. Marcus felt sick. But our drive is different. We only create temporary singularities. That is what the Keth Moran believed as well. The scaled alien stepped forward. I am Science Coordinator Veltar. Our deep space sensors have detected 3 more civilizations, developing similar technology in the past 1,000 years. Each time we arrive too late to prevent disaster. So what happens now? Dr. Foster asked. Ambassador Zarathul's expression softened slightly. The Galactic Council has debated this situation for the past 2 weeks. Some members believe your species should be destroyed before you can threaten the galaxy. Others argue for immediate quarantine. And what do you believe? Marcus asked. I believe in giving young species a chance to prove their wisdom. You have 72 hours to demonstrate that humanity can be trusted with dangerous knowledge. Captain Morrison stepped forward. What kind of demonstration? Cease all research into reality manipulation technology. Destroy your prototypes and research data. Submit to galactic oversight of your future scientific development. The room fell silent. Marcus felt his life's work crumbling around him. Everything he had dreamed of achieving was being taken away. And if we refuse? Captain Morrison asked. Then the Galactic Council will take action to protect the galaxy from your species. This is not a negotiation. This is a warning, Ambassador. Zarathul turned to leave, then stopped. Dr. Thompson, your discovery shows great intelligence. But intelligence without wisdom is the most dangerous force in the universe. I hope your species chooses wisdom. As the aliens returned to their shuttle, Marcus stared at the hologram of the destroyed star system. 40 billion lives lost because someone like him had thought they could control forces beyond their understanding. For the first time since his breakthrough, Marcus wondered if Lisa had been right to worry. Maybe some discoveries were too dangerous to pursue, but deep in his heart, he wasn't ready to give up. Humanity had always been willing to take risks that other species wouldn't. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time, humans would prove they could handle the impossible. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council took place on Kepler Prime, a massive space station built at the center of the galaxy. The station was older than human civilization and housed representatives from over 3,000 different species. Marcus Thompson had never imagined he would see such a place. The main council chamber was enormous, with curved walls that stretched up into darkness. Thousands of alien beings filled the space, their voices creating a sound like ocean waves mixed with music. At the center of the chamber stood a crystal platform where speakers could address the council. Above it floated council speaker Vorgash, a being that looked like a mountain made of living diamonds. When Vorgash spoke, his voice made the entire station vibrate. We gather today to address the human problem, Vorgash announced. Species 7439 has developed Class X technology, despite having no understanding of its consequences. Marcus sat in a small section reserved for humans. Lisa Rodriguez sat beside him, along with Captain Morrison and Dr. Foster. They were the only humans on a station that housed millions of alien beings. The evidence is clear, Vorgash continued. 2 weeks ago, the humans conducted a test of reality manipulation technology. The gravitational disturbance was detected across multiple star systems. A holographic display appeared above the chamber, showing the path of the gravitational waves from Earth. The waves had spread out like ripples in a pond, but these ripples moved faster than light and carried enough energy to affect the orbit of asteroids millions of miles away. Previous civilizations with this technology have caused catastrophic damage, Vorgash said. The Council must decide whether to allow humanity to continue this research or take action to protect the galaxy. A voice from the crowd called out, "Destroy them before they kill us all." More voices joined in agreement. Marcus felt his heart racing as he listened to thousands of aliens discussing whether his entire species should be eliminated. Ambassador Zarathul rose from her seat. "Speaker Vorgash, I request permission for the humans to address the Council." "The humans may speak," Vorgash replied. "But remember, Council members, that the Kethmoran also spoke beautifully of their peaceful intentions." Marcus stood up on shaking legs. He had given presentations to other scientists before, but never to an audience that was deciding whether his species would live or die. "Honored Council members," Marcus began, "I am Dr. Marcus Thompson, the creator of humanity's faster-than-light drive." The chamber fell silent. Marcus could feel thousands of alien eyes watching him. "I understand your concerns about our technology, but I believe our drive is fundamentally different from what previous species created." Marcus activated his own holographic display, showing the technical details of his device. The Kethmoran created permanent singularities that grew stronger with each use. Our drive creates temporary microsingularities that exist for only seconds before disappearing. A voice from the audience interrupted him. "That is what every species believes before their technology destroys them." "But we've run computer simulations," Marcus continued. "Our singularities are too small and too brief to cause the kind of cascade failure that destroyed the Kethmoran." Science Coordinator Veltar stood up. "Dr. Thompson, have you tested your drive on anything larger than a small probe?" Marcus hesitated. "Not yet, but our calculations show that scaling up should be safe." The Kethmoran made the same calculations. They were wrong. Captain Morrison stood up beside Marcus. With respect, Coordinator Veltar, humanity has always advanced by taking calculated risks. If we had listened to every voice of caution, we would never have left our home planet. This statement caused an uproar in the chamber. Hundreds of alien voices rose in anger and fear. Silence, Vorgash commanded. Captain Morrison, your species' tendency toward reckless behavior is exactly what concerns the Council. A new voice spoke from the crowd. It belonged to an ancient being called the Curator, an artificial intelligence that had existed for millions of years. When the Curator spoke, everyone listened. I have studied the wreckage of 17 civilizations that developed reality manipulation technology, the Curator said. In every case, the species believed they could control forces beyond their understanding. In every case, they were wrong. Marcus felt his confidence cracking. But surely some species must have succeeded. Otherwise, how would you know the technology is possible? One species succeeded, the Curator replied. The Eternal Builders who created this station and many others like it. But they were so advanced that they existed partly outside normal space-time. Humans are nowhere near that level of development. Lisa. Rodriguez stood up. What if we agreed to work with galactic scientists? What if we shared all our research and accepted oversight? That is not sufficient, Vorgash said. The risk is too great. The Council has reached a decision. The chamber fell completely silent. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat. Humanity has 72 hours to completely destroy all reality manipulation technology and research, Vorgash announced. After that time, the Council will take whatever action is necessary to protect the galaxy. And if we comply, Dr. Foster asked, then humanity will be granted limited membership in the galactic community. You will have access to safe, faster-than-light technology and be allowed to expand within a designated sector of space. Marcus felt his world collapsing. You're asking us to give up the greatest discovery in human history. I am asking you to choose between your pride and your survival, Vorgash replied. As the council session ended, the humans were escorted to a guest quarters section of the station. The rooms were comfortable but clearly designed for beings very different from humans. What do we do now? Dr. Foster asked. Captain Morrison looked grim. We contact Earth and present the Council's terms. Then we hope our leaders make the right choice. But Marcus wasn't listening. He was thinking about the readings Lisa had shown him before they left Earth. She had discovered something troubling in the data from their Jupiter test, but they hadn't had time to analyze it fully. Lisa, Marcus said quietly, show me those readings again. Lisa pulled out her tablet and displayed the energy measurements from their test. Marcus studied the numbers carefully and his face went pale. What is it? Captain Morrison asked. The gravitational waves we detected, Marcus said slowly. They're not just ripples in space. They're creating microfractures in the fabric of reality itself. What does that mean? Dr. Foster asked. Lisa ran new calculations on her tablet. It means that every time we use the drive, we weaken the barriers between dimensions. Eventually, those barriers could fail completely. Marcus sat down heavily. For the first time, he truly understood why the aliens were so afraid. His beautiful discovery wasn't just dangerous to space travel, it was dangerous to the fundamental structure of the universe itself. The Council is right, he whispered. We have to stop. But even as he said the words, Marcus knew it wouldn't be that simple. Back on Earth, Admiral Patricia Cross was already working with military scientists to weaponize the drive technology. And Dr. Kevin Walsh had detected strange readings from deep space that suggested their tests had already begun affecting the local cosmic structure. The 72-hour deadline was ticking away, and humanity was about to learn that some choices can't be undone. In the depths of space, invisible cracks were spreading through reality itself. And with each passing hour, those cracks grew wider. Admiral Patricia Cross stood in the command center of Earth's largest military space station, watching her engineers work frantically on the biggest test yet. Despite the Galactic Council's ultimatum, she had convinced Earth's leaders that humanity needed one final demonstration of their technology's potential. We're not going to surrender our greatest achievement based on alien threats, Admiral Cross had argued in the emergency meeting. If they want to see what our drive can really do, we'll show them. The battleship UES Defiance hung in space near the station, its hull gleaming with new modifications. The ship had been fitted with the largest version of Marcus Thompson's drive ever built. Instead of sending a tiny probe to Jupiter, they were planning to send a massive warship to the Andromeda Galaxy and back. Dr. Kevin Walsh monitored the deep space sensors from his control room. He had been studying the strange readings that appeared after each test of the drive technology. The readings worried him, but Admiral Cross had dismissed his concerns. "The aliens are trying to scare us," she had said. "They don't want humanity to become too powerful." On Kepler Prime, Marcus Thompson watched the preparations through intercepted Earth communications. The Galactic Council had given him access to their monitoring systems, hoping he could convince his people to stop their dangerous experiment. "They're going to send a ship to Andromeda," Marcus told Ambassador Zarathul. "The distance is over 2 million light-years." The ambassador's blue skin seemed to lose its glow. "That is madness. No one has ever attempted to use reality manipulation technology across such a distance." "I have to warn them," Marcus said, reaching for the communication console. "Dr. Thompson," Ambassador Zarathul said gently, "your people have already made their choice. We can only hope they survive long enough to see their mistake." On Earth, Captain Morrison had returned from Kepler Prime with Lisa Rodriguez and Dr. Foster. They immediately tried to stop the test, but Admiral Cross had them confined to quarters under military guard. "This is insane," Lisa shouted at the guards outside her door. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." But her warnings fell on deaf ears. The military leaders were convinced that the aliens were lying about the dangers of the technology. They believed humanity was being manipulated into giving up their technological advantage. Dr. Walsh watched his instruments as the UES Defiance powered up its drive system. The energy readings were unlike anything he had ever seen. The ship was essentially preparing to punch a hole through the entire galaxy. "Admiral," Dr. Walsh called over the intercom, "I'm seeing massive energy buildup around the ship. The local space-time readings are already showing stress fractures." "Noted, Dr. Walsh," Admiral Cross replied. "Proceed with the test." The countdown began. 10 seconds. 9. 8. In his lab, Dr. Walsh watched in horror as his deep space sensors detected something impossible. The microfractures in space-time that Lisa had discovered were spreading faster than ever before. It was as if reality itself was preparing for the massive trauma about to be inflicted upon it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Activate drive. The UES Defiance vanished in a flash of light that could be seen from Earth's surface. For a moment, everything seemed normal. Then Dr. Walsh's instruments began screaming with alarms. "Admiral," he shouted, "something's wrong. The exit point energy signature is massive." On the main screen, a view of the Andromeda Galaxy appeared. For 20 seconds, everything looked normal. Then a bright spot appeared in one of Andromeda's spiral arms. The spot grew brighter and larger. "What are we looking at?" Admiral Cross demanded. Dr. Walsh's face was white with terror. "It's a space-time fissure. The drive exit created a tear in reality, and it's expanding." The bright spot in Andromeda continued to grow. Through their most powerful telescopes, they could see entire star systems being consumed by the spreading anomaly. Billions of stars were being erased from existence as the tear in space-time expanded like a cosmic cancer. "How do we stop it?" Admiral Cross asked. "I don't know," Dr. Walsh replied. "I don't think we can." On Kepler Prime, every alarm in the space station was blaring. The Curator's ancient systems had detected the disaster in Andromeda immediately. Council Speaker Vorgash appeared in the human quarters, his diamond form crackling with angry energy. "Your species has doomed us all," he roared at Marcus. "The tear in Andromeda is expanding at near light speed. If it reaches this galaxy, it will consume everything." Marcus felt sick with guilt and horror. "How long do we have?" "The Curator estimates 3 galactic standard days before the effect spreads to our galaxy," Vorgash replied. "Unless we can find a way to stop it." "Ambassador," Zarathul entered the room with science coordinator Veltar and several other alien scientists. "Dr. Thompson, we need your help. You understand this technology better than anyone." "But I was wrong about everything," Marcus said. "My calculations were completely off." "Perhaps," Veltar said, "but you're still the only one who might be able to reverse what you created." Back on Earth, the situation was growing desperate. Admiral Cross watched as more reports came in from the Andromeda disaster. The expanding fissure had already consumed over 10,000 star systems, and it was accelerating. "Ma'am," Dr. Walsh reported, "long-range sensors are detecting gravitational anomalies throughout our own galaxy. The damage is spreading faster than light through some kind of quantum entanglement effect." Admiral Cross finally understood the magnitude of her mistake. "What are our options?" "I'm working with alien scientists to find a solution," Dr. Walsh said, "but it might require using the drive technology one more time. That's what caused this mess in the first place. It might also be the only way to fix it." Meanwhile, a massive alien fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. War Admiral Thexmore, commanding the combined forces of 50 different species, sent a direct message to Earth's leaders. "Humans of Earth," the message said, "your reckless actions have threatened every living being in this galaxy. You have one choice. Help us repair the damage you've caused, or we will destroy your world to prevent further catastrophe." Captain Morrison, finally released from confinement, contacted the alien fleet. "War Admiral, we want to help fix this. Dr. Thompson is working with your scientist right now." "That may not be sufficient," Thexmore replied. "Our projections show that the Andromeda fissure will reach our galaxy within days. If we cannot stop it, we will have no choice but to evacuate to the next galaxy cluster." "Abandoning billions of worlds?" Captain Morrison asked. "Better than losing all life in the universe?" On Kepler Prime, Marcus worked frantically with the curator and dozens of alien scientists. They had discovered something terrifying. The drive technology didn't just create temporary holes in space-time. Each use weakened the fundamental structure of reality itself. "The universe is like a fabric," the curator explained. "Your technology cuts holes in that fabric. Normally the holes heal themselves. But if you cut too many holes too quickly, the entire fabric can unravel. So what do we do?" Marcus asked. "We believe there is one solution," Veltar said. "One final use of your technology, designed not to travel through space, but to pull the torn fabric back together." "A controlled implosion," Marcus realized. "Like using a black hole to seal the hole it created." "Exactly, but the ship that attempts this will be destroyed, and the pilot will be flying directly into a space-time anomaly that could erase them from existence entirely." Marcus nodded grimly. "I'll do it. This is my fault." "No," came a voice from the communication console. It was Admiral Cross, broadcasting from Earth. "Dr. Thompson, this is my responsibility. I ignored the warnings and ordered the test. I'll pilot the mission." As the debate continued about who would sacrifice themselves to save the galaxy, the space-time fissure in Andromeda continued to grow. Entire civilizations were being erased from existence, their histories wiped clean as if they had never existed. Humanity had wanted to prove they belonged among the stars. Now they had to prove they were willing to sacrifice everything to undo the damage they had caused. Time was running out, and the fate of 2 galaxies hung in the balance. The modified UES Defiance floated in space near Kepler Prime, its hull covered with alien technology that no human had ever seen before. The ship looked like a fusion of human engineering and galactic science, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez worked alongside the curator to complete the final modifications. They had spent 3 days straight designing a system that could create what they called a reality implosion. Instead of tearing a hole in space-time, the device would pull the fabric of the universe back together. "The theory is sound," the curator said in its ancient mechanical voice, "but we have never tested anything like this." "We don't have time for tests," Lisa replied. "The Andromeda fissure is growing faster every hour." Marcus Thompson stood in the ship's modified engine room, staring at the device that had started everything. The original drive technology was still there, but now it was surrounded by alien systems that would reverse its effects. The irony wasn't lost on him. His greatest discovery would be used to undo itself. Admiral Patricia Cross entered the engine room, wearing a spacesuit designed by the aliens. The suit would protect her from the extreme forces she would encounter during the mission, but everyone knew it probably wouldn't be enough. "Dr. Thompson," she said, "I want you to know that I take full responsibility for this disaster. If I had listened to the Council's warnings, none of this would have happened." Marcus shook his head. "We're all responsible, Admiral. I created the technology. You tested it, but right now blame doesn't matter, only fixing this matters." On the bridge of the alien fleet, War Admiral Thexmore watched the preparations with growing anxiety. His species had fought in countless wars across the galaxy, but they had never faced anything like this. The Andromeda fissure was now consuming entire galactic arms, and the effect was starting to spread to their own galaxy. "Status report," Thexmore demanded. "The reality implosion device is ready," Science Coordinator Veltar reported. "But Admiral Cross will have to fly directly into the center of the fissure. The gravitational forces alone should tear her ship apart long before she reaches the target point. And if she fails, then we evacuate everyone we can to the next galaxy cluster and hope the expansion stops on its own. How many could we save?" Veltar's scaled face showed deep sadness. "Perhaps 1% of all life in this galaxy." Captain Morrison stood on the observation deck of Kepler Prime, watching Earth through the station's massive windows. His home world looked so small and peaceful from this distance. It was hard to believe that humanity's actions had put the entire universe at risk. Dr. Amy Foster joined him at the window. "Do you think she can do it, Admiral Cross?" "If anyone can, it's her. She's the most stubborn person I've ever met. And if she can't?" Captain Morrison was quiet for a long moment. "Then at least we'll go down fighting. That's something, right?" On Earth, Dr. Kevin Walsh monitored the space-time readings from his laboratory. The microfractures that Lisa had discovered were spreading throughout the solar system now. Reality itself was becoming unstable. He had detected temporal anomalies, gravitational flux, and energy readings that defied every law of physics he knew. "If this doesn't work," he said to his empty lab, "none of this will matter anyway." Admiral Cross completed her final equipment check and prepared to launch. The Defiance had been stripped of everything except life support and the reality implosion device. The ship was essentially a flying bomb designed to heal the universe instead of destroying it. "All systems ready," she reported over the communication channel. Marcus's voice came through clearly. "Admiral, I want you to know that you're the bravest person I've ever met. Save the speeches for when I get back, Dr. Thompson." But everyone listening knew she wasn't coming back. The launch was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Instead of using conventional engines, the Defiance activated its modified drive system and simply vanished. Admiral Cross was traveling 2,000,000 light-years in seconds, heading toward a space-time anomaly that was consuming entire civilizations. In the Andromeda galaxy, the fissure had grown to enormous proportions. It looked like a wound in space itself, surrounded by the twisted wreckage of destroyed star systems. The gravitational forces around it were so intense that light itself was being stretched and distorted. The Defiance appeared at the edge of the anomaly and immediately began fighting against forces that should have crushed it instantly. The alien modifications held, but Admiral Cross could feel the ship beginning to break apart around her. "Control, this is Admiral Cross," she transmitted. "I'm approaching the target point. The ship is holding together, but barely." On Kepler Prime, everyone watched through long-range sensors as the tiny ship fought its way toward the center of the cosmic disaster. Marcus found himself praying to gods he wasn't sure he believed in. "Hull integrity at 60%, Admiral Cross reported. 50%, 40. The ship was dissolving around her, but she kept flying deeper into the fissure. The reality implosion device was designed to work only at the exact center of the anomaly, where the original tear had begun. 20% hull integrity. I can see the center of the fissure. It's beautiful and terrible at the same time. Lisa Rodriguez watched the telemetry data, her heart breaking. "She's almost there," Another 30 seconds. Hull integrity at 10%. Activating the reality implosion device now. Admiral Cross pressed the activation button, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then space itself seemed to scream. The fissure began to collapse inward, pulling the torn fabric of reality back together with forces that defied description. The process created a light show that could be seen across half the galaxy, as billions of stars that had been erased from existence suddenly reappeared. But the forces involved were too much for any ship to survive. The Defiance was crushed into a point smaller than an atom, and Admiral Cross was lost forever. "It's working," the curator announced with something like wonder in its ancient voice. "The fissure is healing." Over the next hour, they watched as the space-time anomaly gradually sealed itself. The expanding tear that had threatened to consume the universe slowly closed, leaving behind only empty space where star systems had once existed. Those systems and their billions of inhabitants were gone forever, but the rest of the galaxy was safe. In the aftermath, humanity faced the consequences of their actions. The Galactic Council debated for days about what to do with the species that had nearly destroyed everything. Ambassador Zarathul argued for mercy. They made a terrible mistake, but they also sacrificed everything to fix it. Admiral Cross gave her life to save us all. War Admiral Thexmore disagreed. Their recklessness cannot be forgiven. They must be quarantined permanently. But the curator made the final decision. Humanity will be granted limited membership in the galactic community. They have proven that they can learn from their mistakes and put the greater good above their own interests. Marcus Thompson returned to Earth a changed man. He destroyed all remaining research into reality manipulation technology and dedicated his life to developing safer methods of space travel. He worked closely with alien scientists, and together they created new technologies that would benefit all species. Dr. Amy Foster became Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council. Her caution and wisdom, once seen as obstacles to progress, were now valued as essential qualities for dealing with dangerous knowledge. Captain Morrison took command of Earth's first interstellar exploration fleet, using safe alien technology to explore the galaxy. Humanity was finally among the stars, but as students rather than conquerors. Lisa Rodriguez established the Admiral Cross Institute for Safe Technology Development, ensuring that future human inventions would be tested thoroughly before being deployed. The Institute's motto was, "Wisdom before wonder." Years later, as humanity slowly earned the trust of other galactic species, people would remember the lesson of the reality drive. Sometimes the most human thing to do is admit when you're wrong and work to fix the consequences, even if it means giving up your greatest achievement. The galaxy was safe, but the empty space where the destroyed star systems had once existed served as a permanent reminder of the price of reckless ambition. Humanity had learned that with great power comes great responsibility, and that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is choose not to use the power you possess. Admiral Patricia Cross was remembered as the woman who saved the galaxy by sacrificing everything. Her name was inscribed on monuments throughout human space, and children learned her story as an example of true heroism. And somewhere in the vast emptiness where billions of stars had once shined, space-time itself bore invisible scars that would serve as a warning for millions of years to come. The universe had been wounded and healed, but it would never forget the species that had learned to put wisdom above wonder.